So, something really weird happened after a jury found Brock Turner guilty of sexually assaulting a woman he met at a party.
Former star swimmer from Oakwood was just convicted of sexual assault.
News outlets covering his guilty verdict started talking about his swimming abilities. The Washington Post reported on his conviction by calling him an all-American swimmer, said he was on one of the best swim teams in the country, even called him baby-faced and a swimming prodigy. In a news report about the conviction, there was all this extra information about what a great athlete he was. That's infuriating, and it happens all the time. It happened in Steubenville with two high school football players who were convicted of raping a minor.
Both boys had promising football careers on the beloved high school team and dreams of college.
And it happened in Oklahoma City with a former football player who was found guilty of raping multiple women.
A college football standout, a bodybuilder, a tough guy cop begging for his life.
News networks do this because we don't expect sex offenders to look like Brock Turner. We have all these stereotypes about sex predators being old, creepy guys who live in the shadows. So when a young, successful, athletic, white guy like Brock Turner ends up being guilty, it's tempting to turn it into a fall from grace story.
From swimming standout to sex offender, Brock Turner's fall from grace was as spectacular as it was complete.
Ebony Tucker works at the National Alliance to End Sexual Violence, and she's seen this kind of thing before.
There's this idea that if I really enjoy watching someone play a sport, that makes them a good person, and not being able to separate what it is that makes them a great athlete or a great actor or a great singer or whatever else from actually committing a criminal act.
But the bigger problem with the fall from grace story is that it makes audiences naturally sympathetic to the offender. If you spend enough time hearing about how great of a student or an athlete someone was, your natural reaction is to ask, how could someone so great have done something so awful?
His loving family says he's always been a gentle giant.
It gives the impression that there was room for a misunderstanding. You know, if they feel very endeared towards whoever the suspected offender is, then they're really going to be thinking about, well, what did she do to cause this?
Audiences who are bombarded with positive images of the offender could end up becoming suspicious of the victim, which is why news reports about sexual assault stories can so often sound like victim blaming. All of this can produce some seriously twisted news coverage, where news outlets end up treating the offender like they're the real victims in these stories. That Washington Post story lamented that Turner's extraordinary yet brief swim career is now tarnished, like a rusting trophy. That same thing happened in Steubenville, when CNN's Poppy Harlow expressed sympathy for the convicted rapists.
These two young men that had such promising futures, star football players, very good students, literally watched as they believed their life fell apart.
There is this really strong protection of the future of males in that situation, whereas there's not a lot of focus on what happens to the future for the survivor. You know, what does her future look like?
What's the lasting effect, though, on two young men being found guilty in juvenile court of rape, essentially?
All the clips you've seen so far are from cases where the offender has already been found guilty, but this kind of coverage is arguably even more dangerous when a trial is still ongoing, because the people who watch the news are the same people who serve on juries, and they bring all of their biases with them into the courtroom.
That in many ways taints the jury pool, which is everyone who's reading this online. You know, the number of people who are prospective jurors or who will be called to jury duty at some point all bring in the biases of what they've read before they were ever called.
Crime reporting is tricky. There are conflicting testimonies, and people are innocent until proven guilty. But the coverage of the Brock Turner case is a reminder that there's a bizarre double standard when it comes to reporting on high-profile sexual assault and rape cases. A double standard that almost never ends up working in favor of victims who come forward.